Hey, how you doing? This is Tom, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show. And I'm using my old camcorder to record this because I've got to show you some things that I can't do a screen capture or I can't capture on my webcam. So that's why I'm using this setup. Anyway, what I'm going to show you in this show is where I'm at as far as setting up for receiving information from aircraft flying overhead from their transponders, which includes information such as lat and long, airspeed, direction, and stuff like that. So anyway, what I've used this weekend partially is what you see right here, and that is this RTL-SDR.com dongle. And I didn't actually use this particular antenna because I just found it. I remember I had it. What I was using was, and this comes off, what I was using was this big guy here, which is really way too long. This antenna here, this particular dongle package sells for $25 on Amazon, comes with 3 antennas. Comes with this telescopic antenna, which extends to about 3 feet for short wave. Comes for this one, with this one, and I think it comes with a third one, which I wasn't able to find, which is just a little tiny stub. But this one, just looking at it, it appears, if I can get, whoops, I got upside down. It appears to be the right length for those aircraft transponders, which operate on 1.090 gigahertz. So I think this, and it is telescopic. So I think when it's fully collapsed, it's probably the right frequency. So this is the antenna we're going to try. And I'm getting in, as I mentioned in my previous show, I'm getting in another dongle that is specifically made for listening to those aircraft transponders, in that it has some, in the design, it has some filtering to filter out lower frequencies and stuff like that. You can also buy a inline filter that will attach to these dongles that provides that filtering for you. It goes between the dongle and your antenna. So I'm going to try to show you what's happening right now. May fail in showing you this, but I had it working this weekend, but I kind of tore things down as far as a computer and a computer setup, excuse me, because I was using it for something else. Okay, so let me go over to the monitor that's connected to the computer that I'm going to use. I'm using an old Dell quad-core computer, and the way it's set up is that it will boot into either Linux or Windows 7. And I installed a version of Linux that has some applications excuse me, for these dongles. It was built into it. As I mentioned in my previous show, I'm not very familiar with Linux. I don't even know how to add programs to Linux. So this particular, they call it distribution, OS, Linux OS, has several applications built in. So I'm going to try to show you to you right now. So I'm going to plug in that dongle. Oh, I got to sit down here. And I don't know how well this is going to show up. Okay. You reach down here. Okay, I've got that dongle plugged in, and I'm just going to set this antenna on my, I'll show you real quick, on my bench right there. not the right place to set it, but that's what I'm going to do right now, just to get this, see if I got this working again. So we're going to zoom in a little bit here so you can see the screen, hopefully see the screen. And let's see, the monitor's turned on. So I'm going to turn the computer on. And you probably can't see it because it's too small, but the way it's set up, it has a short little menu, text menu, where you can select either Linux, some memory testing, or Windows 7. And the default is Linux, so I'm just going to let it take the default. So it's now loading Linux. And what this particular distribution, they call it, is somebody has taken a version of Linux, they've added these other programs for the dongles to it, installed them basically, and produced a image file that you can put on your computer, or you can even run it, hopefully, on my Raspberry Pi. So that's booting right now, and there it is. And it says it's connected to the Wi-Fi. Okay. Now, let me see what's in the camera right now. I'll zoom in a little more and maybe have to zoom back out. But over here is the things, the applications that are installed. And one of those, actually two or three of them, will talk to that dongle. And one of them is called Dump 1090, associated with the frequency of the aircraft transponders at 1.090 gigahertz. And this is one of the programs that will decode that software from your dongle. So we're going to see if it's going to work. I probably should have tried this ahead of time before I started recording, but we're going for it. Okay, so I'm going to click on that wherever it went. And it's booting up and it's asking me for my Latin long. I'll just give it approximately. Okay, hope I got that right. And it's asking me for my password. And that program is starting. And it also, this program also connects with a Google map showing you the aircraft and where they are on the map. Now, does that show up? Yeah, we go back over here a little bit. So let me zoom in. This is the west coast of Florida. There is, let me see if I got a pointer. I can use this antenna. Over here is Tampa, where the Tampa International Airport is, and I live over here in Clearwater, and there's an aircraft that it's tracking right now. And that aircraft is probably line of sight, I would guess 25 to 40 miles from me. So it's not doing bad. Now it's right now, it is 9:50 in the morning. So there should be a lot of aircraft up in the air going to and from the Tampa International Airport or passing by to another airport south of me. But right now, as far as aircraft that's providing the information so that this program can display where the aircraft is, I only have one. Now, according to this list, I have a total of 4, but I'm only getting Latin long from 1. Now, when I had this set up upstairs in my office, I was using a disc cone antenna, which is a wideband antenna. It covers typically 30 megahertz to 1 gigahertz. I was getting And I was using a different dongle. I was using a $10 dongle, and I was using a program. I was using the same program under Windows, and I was getting maybe half a dozen or more aircraft at one time, up to 100 miles away. So with this antenna, and I showed it to you just a few seconds ago, it's just sitting on my desktop. It doesn't have a ground plane because it's sitting on wood basically, and it's giving me one aircraft. Not so good, not so good. Now that I know this setup is working, tomorrow when I get my other dongle in that's designed to receive these transmissions, we'll see how good it works. This one, like I say, is a general purpose dongle. I am surprised I'm not getting more aircraft. Now, we can go back to the other page, I think. Let me see how I do this. How do I shrink the page? I don't know. I am just not familiar with Linux. I don't know how in Windows, you can do Alt-Tab and tab. Oh, there it is. I can tab through. Show desktop. Must be that program. Yeah, there we go. There's the root program, I'll call it, which is the dump 1090 program that's decoding the data coming from the dongle. And it's only showing right now 3 aircraft, and only one is providing position. It's providing position, lat and long. It gives you the aircraft ID, which is UAL 1080, United Airlines, okay. And speed is 455, I guess that's knots. The heading is 183 degrees, heading almost due south, and then some other information that I have no idea what it is. So now we have 2 aircraft that are providing position, lat and long. So it's working okay, but it's not working as good as a setup I had upstairs using a disc cone antenna, which is on my second story, about 17 feet in the air. Again, at these frequencies, 1.090, it's kind of a line of sight whether you're going to receive any information from the transponder. And the line of sight in my workshop has got to be pretty poor. Now let me move the antenna around. I've got a very short cable on it, so I can't move it very far. So I'm going to move it. Whoa, I just dropped it. Oh, jeez. What a dummy. I dropped it. Okay, so we've got it. I've got it about waist high, and we'll see if it picks up any more aircraft. I see 3 aircraft on the map, but it's providing lat and long. Yep, okay, so we got 3 aircraft now. So we picked up another aircraft. Again, they're within 25 miles, definitely 25 miles. So I'm going to, this is a telescopic antenna. I'm going to extend it. I'll start with extending it full length, which is about 12 inches. Oh, we picked up another aircraft. And that aircraft is, trying to see it on the map, see if I can move this window around. Yeah, there we go. So we have another airport that's just south of me down here in St. Petersburg, which is a very small airport, but it does have, like, I think 2 major airlines that go into that airport, plus the UPS airplanes come into that airport. So it gets a fair amount of traffic, nothing compared to the Tampa International. So still my range is still very, very short. Again, I have all kinds of things interfering with the antenna. I'll put the antenna back down and see if that makes any difference. So I've collapsed the antenna to the length that I think it should be, and I've set it down on top of my workbench. And I think we lost one. I think we lost one aircraft. But if I go to the map, we lost another one. Yep, so that made a big difference. I don't know if the difference was the fact that I had the antenna another 1.5 feet, 18 inches higher by holding it. Holding it might have had some effect. Just the fact that I had it in my hand, the base of it. I'm going to leave the antenna on my desktop and extend it to its full length of about 12 inches. Okay, so it's still on my desktop, and I've extended it, and I'm losing aircraft right and left. So, as I guessed, probably having the antenna collapsed is probably the best for reception. And then I'll leave it collapsed for a few seconds to give it the program time to catch up. And I'm now going to raise the antenna. I can't raise it very far, and see if we get any more aircraft. I'll hold it there for a few minutes or seconds. I have 2 aircraft that are providing position. See if we can get a couple up. We got another one that's providing position. And like I say, I'm about 4 feet off the ground with no base for this antenna. I don't have any metal ground plane for a base. So this is where I'm at right now. That's what I wanted to show you, where I am right now. And we're going to try to improve on this to see if I can at least get back to where I was when I was monitoring aircraft using an antenna that's on the peak of my roof. As I said before, that antenna now is dedicated to my ship/vessel tracking system, and it's tied up 100%. So I can't use that antenna again. I actually do have, still in the box, it's not really in a box, but still in its wrapper, an exact antenna like the one that's on the peak of my second floor. And I could try that one. I need to install it, of course. Now, the other thing, as I mentioned in my previous show, is that one of the big factors trying to receive at this frequency is the cable itself to bring the signal from the antenna to the dongle. The discone antenna I was using is using 50 ohm, like I think it's RG8 coax, and it's probably 30 feet long, so a lot of attenuation. So I should be able to improve over that by using a shorter cable. Now let me just briefly show you what I'm talking about here, and then we'll call it quits for this particular show. Let me get zoom off. Where's the zoom button? There it is. Okay, going back over to my desktop. So this is the little antenna I'm using, and it's got this really wimpy coax cable, which might be fine for this frequency. I don't know. I'm not that familiar with it. But what I want to do is somehow get that, number one, get the antenna outside of my workshop. Number two, try to get it as high as I can without adding too much coax cable. Now what I'll have to do is, and I'll pull one out right here. See if it's, okay, this is an adapter cable. Notice it's the same very thin wire. I think this is higher quality than what comes with that antenna. This is an adapter to take it from what's on the dongle, this little guy here, to a standard PL259 connector. And I can use some of my standard coax cable. Again, I'm going to be adding another adapter, so to speak. So that's going to attenuate the signal. And then I'm going to add that coax cable, which is going to be pretty lossy cable. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to improve things by doing that or not. That's what the experiment is about. The setup is apparently working, although the screen just went blank because timed out. Set my password back in. And going back to the computer screen again. Which, that's weird. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong screen. I was going to say, why is that screen blank? There it is up there. That's why. So going back to this screen, the name of this Linux distribution that has these applications installed is called Skywave. And so what you do is you download the image file, you burn it onto, in this case for the PC, you can burn it on a CD, and then you start your computer from the CD, and then it allows you to install, either run it from the CD, which is quite slow, or you can install it on your PC. So I've dedicated this particular computer to these applications, so I told it to install it. So I can either boot in to this Linux version, or I can boot into Windows 7. And there are, and we can close this, I think. I know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Where is, there it is, close button. Okay, I said to close that, didn't I? Close tabs. There we go. Okay, and it also closes that dump 1090 program. Now, also on this is a version of a general purpose program that will talk to the USB dongle, SDR dongle. It's called Cubic SDR. Again, I'm running Linux here. I can click on that, and now you see that interface, similar to like SDR Sharp and SDR-console. This one's very simplified, but it works fine. And so it's now receiving, it's probably, yeah, it's still set to the standard FM station channel frequency. Looks like it locked up. No, it's running. Oh, I got to be careful because since that's on the FM band, which has a lot of music, I don't want to capture any of that music, but that's working. So again, this is called Skywave, and it's just one of the hundreds of distributions of Linux. In this case, it's Ubuntu, Linux Ubuntu, with these applications for the dongles already installed. So anyway, that's where I'm at. Tomorrow I'll get in the specialized dongle for capturing the aircraft transponder signals. If you enjoyed this show, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, why don't you do that? When you subscribe, and you hit the subscribe button, right next to the subscribe button is a little bell. And if you click on that bell, it'll pop up a window where you can say, send me an email when this guy has a new video. And so it will send you that reminder. Have a great day. Time to turn on the fan. It's really hot in there. Bye-bye.